Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of my Out of the Park Baseball 24 Washington Nationals playthrough. It is July 11th, 2024, which means we are ready for our second first-year player draft of the series. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it. You can see we have the 7th pick in this year's draft, unfortunately falling back from 3 in the draft lottery. Less than $7 million for the slot of the first pick. If we look at our financial situation, we are looking a lot better for this year's draft with $13 million set as the budget with $1.3 million to spare. Although one issue with this draft is that it is not very deep. If you look at all players, only about 10 to 15 guys above 50 potential, and only one pitcher who is a 55 potential or higher, Chase Mobley. So I'm expecting us to take a batter the first pick, but let's see what the first 6 teams do before us. Cincinnati takes Connor Griffin with the number 1 overall pick. Not too surprising. He did look like the best player available. And Cleveland goes with one of the guys I was hoping to be able to take. 19-year-old shortstop Ty Southesine, who's already a 30 overall. Very well developed for a 19-year-old. Houston goes with Tommy White, another guy who I was hoping to be able to take. He's a college bat with pretty good potential, who I usually see turn into a pretty good player. Derek Curiel, best center fielder in the draft, goes to the Tigers. Baden Stovall, another college bat who I was hoping to take, goes to the Rockies at pick 5. And then Marlins take another college center fielder, Will Taylor. So it is our pick. There are still a lot of good high schoolers out there, unfortunately. Basically, all the college bats I was hoping to take were taken. So it leaves us with Eric Griffin as the top player available. I'm not too high on taking him, considering he's only a first baseman, and OSA does not like him very much. Well, that's funny because these ratings are about the same, but his 15 overall drops. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Either way, I could take Griffin. This guy, Conrad Casson, I do like. I like his bat. His defense could be okay at second. He's got high work ethic. This guy, Connor Schaus, another shortstop. But, not really a shortstop, only a second baseman with an okay bat. I mean, Theo Gillen is probably the guy who I'd like to take the most. I think other than Griffin, he was the high schooler. Other than Connor Griffin, not Eric Griffin. He was the high schooler I like the most in this draft. Because he at least could potentially play shortstop if he gets some random jumps in his defensive ratings. And his bat looks very good. And at least he's already got 30 contact and 30 eye, as well as good speed. Could potentially play the outfield as well. And he is looking for about slot, or I guess that'd be a bit over slot for us. There's Slade Caldwell, who is interesting because he can play center field. He's got a good personality, but doesn't have any power. And I would say concerns me a bit, as well as the fact that I've drafted him before, and he's ended up being a bust. Usually I end up getting him later in drafts, so I can probably take Caldwell with the second or third pick. I could consider taking a pitcher here. Mobley has a great personality and definitely is best pitcher in the draft. But I think I'm going to try to wait and take maybe a couple of these college arms in third or fourth round. Yeah, so I think I am just going to go with Theo Gillen here. To me, he looks like the best player available. In my opinion, he's better than Eric Griffin. So yeah, even though his bonus demand is about $1 million higher than slot, I think we can afford that. But we'll have to be a little bit careful with how we spend our money going forward. Oops. Yes, unfortunately, Caldwell did go in the first round. And a lot of the college pitchers went as well. We'll go to that filter. So I could take Mobley here, because he is, the best pitcher in the draft. OSA is still basically just as high on him. I mean, one of these college guys would probably be the safer pick. Kyle Bender looks okay. This guy, Alonzo Treadwell, was looking like one of my favorite pitchers in the draft, but he wants $7.5 million, so can't afford him. Joey Oki's a high schooler. I'd rather take Mobley. I think we might go Mobley. Well, you know what? I just looked at his demand. I did not see his demand before. $8.5 million. In fact, Bender wants a ton of money too. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's see, Nathan Detmer would be affordable. I mean, I'd like to take a pitcher here, to be honest. I know he's only at 45 potential. He is durable, has high movement, and a good floor. Because we really need good starting pitcher depth in our minors, because we're going to be losing some starters in the majors pretty soon, I think. I know we do have some good pitching prospects, but I would certainly like more. Like Billy Barlow, no way I'm going to take him with that movement. Let's go back to batters for a second, though. I think maybe we do need to go with just a high ceiling batter like Casson here, and then just hope that one of those college pitchers does slip to next round. Like Newstrom's here, but he's not a catcher. He's got great power potential, but he's probably a first baseman or left fielder. I mean, although Kassan doesn't really have good defensive ability either. He does at least have high work ethic. He's also very young, just 17, while at least having 30 contact and power. And he is affordable, so I think I am going to go with Conrad Kaysen. Well, yeah, now he's going to say recommended slot. I think we'll still be fine there, though. So third round, definitely going to look back at pitcher. Yeah, so most of these guys have been taken. There are still a couple interesting-ish college pitchers here. Like Chase Burns was a guy I had my eye on with his stuff. Unfortunately, like his ratings aren't great for being 21. But he could have pretty good stuff, and he's I think he is the highest velocity pitcher in the draft. I really don't want to take Barlow because of his movement. I mean, I would love to take Bender, but I don't think we're going to be able to free up the money to sign him. Like, this would really be the ideal pick right here. He's got 4 solid pitches, average stuff control, and good movement. Actually, no, I guess, okay, yeah, Nathan Detmer is still here. Didn't see him at first. I think we are going to go with him just because he does have that 55 movement. He's durable. is one of the harder throwers in the draft, as well as having a very low demand. And again, he's going to bump up to recommended slot, which might be kind of an issue if all the guys do this, but hopefully we'll be able to get a few of them for below that. I think Detmer was easy signability, so I should be able to get him for less than $1 million. So Chase Burns is still here. Definitely consider him since we can afford him. There are a couple interesting pitchers down here. Brandon Neely, another college arm, although that's horrible ratings for a 21-year-old. I mean, that's like a high school arm right there. So I'm probably going to stay away from him. This guy's got good potential and a great personality. He's only 18. But Ryan McPherson, definitely a guy I would look to take. He's asking for some money, though. You can see, compared to our bonus demands, we've got about $3.2 million left. We'll see which batters are available. So Newstrom's still available. He's probably a good guy to take, honestly, because he's not asking for much money. OSA is way lower on him, though. But still, I might as well trust my scout and grab him because he has that great power potential. I mean, yeah, obviously, if this bat develops, he can play in the majors. Like, he can be a DH or first baseman or whatever. So he's definitely not a catcher, but he looks like the best pick here. I'm gonna take another look at pitchers, though. I mean, I really do want to like stack our minors with good pitchers. See Carter Smith there. This is actually an interesting guy. This guy kind of looks like a Harlan Susanna and Adam Mako a bit with his high stuff, but then below average movement and control. OSA is very low on him, but he's got 3 great pitches. Looks like could definitely make the majors as a reliever. I might see if I can get Carter Smith in the 5th round, though. I think I will grab Newstrom here. And then this will be the last pick I do on camera. And then I'll cut back in and show you guys everyone I took. So Carter Smith is still there. Brandon Neely is there as well. Yeah, I mean, this college arm I don't really find very interesting because his stuff and control are pretty bad. Yeah, Drew Graham's basically the same, but he's a high schooler. Yeah, guy's just a 2-bitch pitcher. So I think I am just going to go with Carter Smith here. Yeah, only wants 75,000, so we can absolutely afford him. And we have a little bit of money to spend on some of these picks past round 5 too. So with that, I'll come back when I'm finished with the draft. I've finished the draft, so now I want to show you guys who I took in the last 15 rounds. Starting the 6th round with Maverick Rizzi, a 19-year-old pitcher with very good movement potential, average stuff, but has a great personality and 4 good pitches, which I always like to get when drafting pitchers. And 7th round, another pitcher we looked at earlier, Grant Cherry, also has 4 pitches, doesn't have great potential, but his OSA looks much better, so that's encouraging at least. He throws 93, 95. Just need that stuff to go up a bit from TCR or whatever, and I think he could make the majors at some point. 8th round went back to a batter, Xavier Casaria. 3rd base prospect, probably more of a first baseman though. Maybe left fielder as well. But he's got good power and eye potential. Maybe average contact, low avoid Ks, but I do like this batting profile. Then outfielder, Gabe D'Arcy, probably not a center fielder. but definitely could play left or right. Line drive hitter, which I like, and he at least has a decent floor and a decent ceiling as well, at least in contact and power. Maybe a utility outfielder at some point. At shortstop, Kassen Concerina, 60 infield range, so better than most of the other infielders that were in the draft. Could definitely be a second baseman. Doesn't have great potential with the bat, though. Just an average bat with 50s basically across the board. So most likely not going to be a major leaguer unless there's some TCR there. Lucas Malstedt, drafted as a starter, now set as a reliever. But I have taken this guy before, and he's worked out very well with his great personality. Greens all where you want to see them. Good stuff as well. His velocity's super low, but usually that will go up some. Even if it just goes up to like 87, 89, that'll improve his stuff a decent amount. And so he could definitely make the majors. Jade Melendez, this is a catcher who I always like to take in the second draft because he's the best defensive catcher available and has a great personality. And if the bat just develops a bit farther than what his ceiling is listed now, then he'll definitely make the majors as like a backup catcher. Then Talon Gardini, high school pitcher, I took mainly for his high control, as well as having 3 solid pitches. And then Corey Collins, drafted as a catcher, but he's one of the highest floor players in the draft. He's got already 55 power and eye, so you just need that contact to develop. Well, you need all this to develop, really, because he's basically a first baseman or DH. Yeah, I can't really play the outfield. Yeah, I always like to draft Corey Collins, because if you can get his bat to develop even higher than this, he can definitely make the majors. And Thad Ector, 20-year-old outfielder with solid potential across the board. Camden Hayslip, another outfielder, similar to the last guy. Not great defensively, but has some potential in the power in the eye department. Tate Cooner, relief prospect, already 23, but one of the highest floor guys there was available. So, some TCR here could get him to the majors. Then Randall Diaz Morales, he was one of the best defensive infielders available that at least had some potential with the bat. He's already 21, but just wanted to get at least a guy who can play shortstop into the minor league system. Dean Campshire, 4 pitches is the main reason I drafted him. 21-year-old, but looks like a high school pitcher, and just kind of a shot in the dark there. And lastly, Peter Ostenson is like the highest floor reliever left. You're probably not going to make the majors unless his control can significantly jump up. But, it's nice to take these high floor guys that can at least give you some decent depth in the minors. So with that, I'll probably sum up to the trade deadline. Maybe I'll jump in sooner than that if we make a big trade or something. I've simmed up to August 1st, just past the trade deadline, and the Nationals now sit at 43-60. You might be able to tell from the roster, and especially the pitching staff, that we did make a number of moves, which I'll show you right now. Although at the All-Star break, we did get 2 All-Stars, both Braden Shoemake and Giovanni Moran were All-Stars, so congratulations to them. But we did make a number of transactions, including 4 trades over the course of July. So we'll start right after the draft. We actually made a significant waiver claim. We claimed Alex Lang, who was Detroit's closer. No idea why Detroit waived their closer. He'd been doing pretty good for them, 3.8 FIP. But has very good stuff in movement. Still pretty controllable. He's got 35 stamina, could be a stopper. Also a ground ball pitcher, which is nice. And so we've now claimed both of our current setup guys off of waivers. So then on July 17th, made our first trade. And this Trejo claiming off waivers really paid off because he actually had a lot of value. I tried shopping him around. And yeah, and so Brandon Fat popped up, which was very surprising. So I thought I had to get him. I ended up making the trade a lot more complex than just that, though. Also, sent Arizona Anthony Banda, Mike Bauman, Jake Knoll, and Michael Mercado, getting Brandon Fott and Joe Gatto, who is just like a AAA starter / reliever, but has very good stuff and movement. So could make an impact in the majors potentially. But we have quite a bit of pitching depth in the bullpen right now, so he's not going to be up. But Brandon Fott is in our rotation. He's made 3 starts for us so far. Not been great, but with that super good control, and he's also young and controllable. So that was kind of what I wanted, was controllable pitching. So this next trade might shock some people. So we actually trade both Martin Perez and Josiah Gray to the Tampa Bay Rays, getting utility man Vidal Brujan, catcher Rene Pinto, and pitcher Cooper Criswell. So it may seem weird that I'm looking for controllable pitching, but then I traded Josiah Gray. But he's just been abysmal for us this year. I mean, the home runs he's been allowing is crazy. You can see his last 4 starts for us: 3 home runs, 1, 3, 2, like 2.4 home runs per 9. I knew he was getting lucky last year with only allowing 0.9. His 30 movement being extreme fly ball in our ballpark, this is not going to work at all. I'm sure he's getting somewhat unlucky with his homer per 9, but he's allowing a low BABIP as well. So I don't know. I thought I thought Gray wasn't going to stick around the team long term, so this seemed like the best time to move him. We didn't get a ton back, but like Martin Perez honestly didn't really have much value at all, which was kind of unfortunate. He wasn't great for us, but I'm fine with what we got back. Brujan is a very useful player. Pinto, put in AAA, he's hurt now, but hopefully he'll be our backup catcher next year. And then Criswell is another good depth arm who could be used in rotation or bullpen in the majors. And send 2 trades at the trade deadline. First is this one. We traded Omar Narvaez, who was just a AAA catcher, plus throw in 25-year-old to get Ezekiel Duran. More depth for an infielder, just sitting in AAA now. But the main reason I did this was to unload one of our AAA catchers, because we had like 5 guys there after we brought in Pinto, although now he's hurt. But definitely, we weren't using Narvaez in our major league team, so it's definitely going to take advantage of his value to get even more depth in the infield with Duran. And then I traded Victor Robles. He's only 27, but he's actually about to be a free agent. And I would have liked to sign him to an extension, but his outfield range recently dropped, which made his center field defense drop, which was very concerning. And so, yeah, he's not been great defensively, and he doesn't give much with the bat. And so I thought there's no way I was going to re-sign him, so I might as well see what I can get for him in a trade. And so we also threw in Matt Suggs, just random catcher, to get a decent pitching prospect in Francisco Benitez, who's in AA for us now. They sent him to their closer. I think we have too many starting pitching prospects in AA right now, so I might need to shift some guys around. But he's got 5 pitches, pretty good stuff in movement, and average control. So I think he could be a piece for us potentially, but definitely worth getting back for Victor Robles. I've simmed up to September 1st now, and the Washington Nationals sit at 56-74. We almost had our first winning month of the year in August, going 13-14. But one interesting thing I noticed is our Pythagorean record is actually 6 games better at 62-68, which I think really shows the improvement the team has made this year, as our overall record is actually pretty similar to where it was at last year. But you can see offensively, we're now 5th in runs scored, 6th in batting average, 5th in home runs, which is a major improvement from last year. Although a lot of the pitching stats are still towards the bottom of the league, starters ERA being 13th and bullpen ERA being 12th. We also allow the most home runs in the league and have played really bad defense again. But there is one man that is mainly responsible for our jump in offense the last 2 months, which is James Wood. As you can see, he had a ridiculous July and August, both months about the same OPS of 1,220, which was 230 and 220 WRC plus respectively. You can see he's just absolutely mashing with 19 combined home runs. Also 27 RBIs in August. And so this is really, really good to see from James Wood after, for some reason, he really struggled in May and June. But if you look at his overall numbers, he's got 4 WAR, so could win Rookie of the Year, 138 WRC plus, and his ratings have climbed up way closer to his ceiling. He's now reached 65 power, 60 contact, and 60 eye, which is really good to see. See his lots of greens here on his recent scouting reports. I did look at signing Wood to an extent, or, a long-term extension, but he's already asking for a ton of money, and so I think I'm going to hold off on that. Let's see, but taking a look at the batters, we'll sort by plate appearances. So Joey Meneses has not had a great season. He's continued to struggle a bit in these last couple months, just at 89 WRC plus, which is not good enough for a DH. As you can see, it puts him at negative WAR. Luis Garcia, his ratings continue to improve. I mean, he's looking really good in that department. He's been up and down, unfortunately, a bit down recently, but which sets him at a league average hitter. Still on pace for about 2.5 WAR, which I guess we'll take. But with the way his ratings look, I really hope he could contribute more offensively. I expect him to be able to be like a 115, 120 WRC plus type of player. But he's hitting a lot more home runs than last year. I'd just like to see the average and on base be a bit higher. Of course, we already went over Wood. Abrams did cool off. He's now a below average hitter. Still on pace for 2.8 WAR, which is pretty solid. Might need to take him out of the leadoff spot. But he's still doing fine, so I think I'll leave him in there. Ruiz is a league average hitter. It's way down from where it was last year. So it's a bit unfortunate, but he's actually played better defense. You can see he's got positive framing, which is good. And so, I'll still take like 2 WAR from him. We're paying him $6 million. Obviously, this contract is very large, but if we can get 2 to 3 WAR a season from him, I think that is good enough. Aranda has continued to have a very nice season. On pace for 2.5 WAR, a 123 WRC plus. His ratings aren't like amazing, but 290 average. It's walking. Yeah, it doesn't walk a whole lot, but 17 home runs, definitely helping us a lot in our improvement there. Vidal Brujan, who we acquired from Tampa Bay at the deadline, hasn't done much for us, mainly in a utility role, so I'm not too worried about that. And then Braden Shoemake continues to play pretty well. Not quite as good as he was doing like the first half of the year, but still 115 WRC plus. I mean, considering what his batting ratings look like, absolutely take that. And he's playing fine defense at shortstop. I mean, shortstop's such a tough position to play that if you're in like a net zero zone rating, that's perfectly fine. And so, obviously his his defensive ratings look very good. Cameron Misner has still been good. Base for 2.6 WAR, still 11% above league average hitter, while also having a good glove for the outfield. And so, Hassel still has not come up. Riley Unruh doing fine in the utility infielder role. Brought him back up after trading Trejo away. Chris Taylor, surprisingly, has been pretty solid as a platoon bat and kind of a utility player against righties, above average hitter. So, absolutely take that. I looked to trade him at the deadline, couldn't get anything, but I'll keep him up, and then we'll just let him go in the offseason, I think. And Judd Fabian has really started to catch fire since I traded away Robles and put him into the full-time starting center field position. He's almost up to a league average hitter. I mean, he started off so bad. We can look at his splits, actually. You can see he was absolutely terrible. Oh, that's going to be all levels. Major League here. Yeah, so he was terrible in limited time in May and June, but now he's been super good in August. 136 WRC plus. So, yeah, Fabian will be fine for us as starting center fielder. And he could maintain that role for a while because we don't really have any other good defensive center fielders in the deck. I'd be fine, starting. And then, Austin Hedges, backup catcher, actually has, not like, I'll actually take this from him, the bat, positive 4. So he's done his job, I would say. Then the pitchers, we've had a lot of changes here over the course of the season. Actually called up Mason Thompson and Gerardo Carrillo for roster expansion. So Carrillo is about to make his major league debut. But Mackenzie Gore has been pretty good. Not quite as good as last year, but I think he had a good month. I know there's that 6 earned run start there, but I think his August was pretty good. 3.8 FIP, 2.62 ERA. So it was a big step in the right direction for Gore. Still, I would like to see his ratings improve a bit, though. And Brandon Pfaadt has been solid for us, for sure, since acquiring him. His ratings did go down a bit. I guess we got a more accurate scouting report. But still looks very good as a starter. I think the Diamondbacks were using him as a reliever some, and his ratings were looking even better then. But with the way our rotation is, I definitely like him in there. Corbin, surprisingly, has been decent for us this year. 5.07 FIP is not bad. Let's see, I think, he had a good July. That was the month where he was like really throwing well. And then he was okay in August, but yeah, he was surprising me in July with how he was pitching. Jose Ferrer has been our most used reliever, the rookie, with a 4.07 FIP. That's, fine. Giovanni Moran has been great in a lefty setup role. Pace for almost 2 WARs, really good as a reliever. And then Cole Henry has been pretty good in the closer role, up to 1 WAR. He's allowed some more earned runs recently, but for a while his ERA was below 3 by quite a bit. But I love his ratings in this role. He's a closer with a stopper as a secondary role, and so I think it's the perfect role for him. If we get some top end reliever in free agency or something, they'll bump him out. But Victor Arano has really improved his numbers in the past month and a half, maybe. He had a really good July. I guess did, or sorry, really, really good August. Not amazing July, but better than what he was doing. And so it's good to see that his FIP is very respectable now. ERA still pretty high, but that BABIP has killed him all season. Cronin's been a very good lefty for us out of the pen. Very happy with what we've got from him. Brosbon's still doing pretty good, although he has, you can see in a couple appearances recently where he's allowed some earned runs, but still been solid. Lang actually has not been great for us since we claimed him. He started out with I think 7 innings. His first 7 innings or so with us, he didn't allow a run, but recently you can see he's lots of earned runs. His FIP's still good with us, though, and I mean, I love these ratings. Huascar, has been really weird. I don't understand it. He's allowing a home run like every time he goes out there. He's a ground ball pitcher. I know he doesn't have good movement, but he's not. I 11 Ks per nine, I guess, is pretty good, but the home runs per nine, it's ridiculous. I don't understand why he's allowing so many, but he doesn't have any options. So I'm going to keep him in this role and just hope that, eventually he'll figure it out. And then Cavalli, unfortunately, hasn't been good since coming back from his rehab assignment into our rotation. Almost an 8 ERA. FIP's a bit better, but he's having some control issues and also allowing a bit too many home runs. You can see he's allowed a home run in his last 4 starts, and these walks are a big issue. And then Cooper Crisball, I called up. He was the pitcher we got from Tampa Bay in the Perez and Gray trade. And while his ERA has not been good, his FIP's very good. He's not allowing home runs, which is the main thing that's helping that. Terrible BABIP, though. So he's a ground ball pitcher. So I like him. I think he's more of a guy who will be a spot starter for us going forward. And then Thompson hasn't really pitched. Carrillo's there. Hasn't pitched yet for us either. So there was one thing, though. Did want to mention Dylan Cruz. His ratings jumped up again. He's now at a 60 contact and power. Still not playing amazing in AAA. I think I am going to keep him down for the rest of the year, though, just because I don't want to start his service time. But Cruz will definitely be, I think, our DH next year. Replacing Meneses, probably. And then Hassel, unfortunately, still hasn't really gotten it going. His ratings haven't gone up either. I mean, I would love to get him up. And maybe I do, send down a pitcher to get Hassel up. Although I would have to DFA someone since our 40-man is full. But I still want to get Hassel, his debut this year. Then Adam Macko, our third best prospect, is up to AAA. He wasn't amazing in AA, but still pretty good. Put up 2 WAR, and he pitched well in his first start at AAA. So I think he will be up at some point next year, actually. And then one other prospect I wanted to mention was Elijah Green, because he actually got a really good boost to his ratings in the last scouting update. See, his contact power and eye potential all jumped up by 5. He's still not playing well in A-ball, but I'm sure, pretty soon that'll start turning around because his ratings are looking pretty good now. So with that, I think I'm actually going to wrap up the episode here. Next time, we will definitely finish the regular season. I think get all the way through international amateur free agency. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.